shortstop Josh Vasquez for the Sullivan State University Lobos. Josh, how are you?
Pretty good, and yourself?
I'm doing all right. Ready for a couple of questions here. First of all, how do you plan to repeat a successful freshman year?
Just learning off of last year is a big learning experience for me, and I know what mistakes I made, so I'm going to try to limit those down and pretty much just keep going off of what I did last year.
Talking about last year, as your freshman year, do you feel more comfortable now having a full season of college baseball under your belt?
Yeah, definitely. I played just about every game and got a lot of experience, and I definitely feel like I just fit right in now, especially with the group of guys that we got this year. I'm more comfortable and just going to keep doing what we do best.
And you mentioned your team. What are your expectations for this team with a lot of new guys coming in from the fall?
I definitely feel like the team's a lot better than we were last year as far as chemistry goes. So I think we should definitely make the conference tournament this year and give it a good run.
And you talk about chemistry. Can you elaborate on that?
Just us being able to joke around and have a good time, and we're not necessarily being far apart from each other. I kind of feel like everybody's a brother to me this year, and it's just something that we didn't really have last year.
And what do you look forward to the most this season?
Definitely just trying to make the conference tournament, but just having more fun this year. I know last year it was kind of hard with the struggles that we went through, but just having fun and playing baseball, and hopefully we can make the tournament.
Last question: goal for you personally, and goal for your team.
Goal for me personally. Try to make the conference team again this year. Last year I was honorable mention, so I want to try to make either first or second team. And then goal for the team would have to say make the conference tournament and hopefully win the thing, because I definitely think we can this year.
All right, Josh, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
And now we're going to bring in sophomore pitcher Ray Gutierrez. Ray, how are you?
I'm doing good, sir. Thank you.
And let's start off with some questions. Last year you had a pretty decent year as a freshman. Now you're back as a sophomore. How do you plan to repeat after your successful freshman year?
I plan on going through it like the same way as I approached it last year, but I've been there, done that now, so now I can just work off that from my previous errors and be able to build off of it.
And you talked about last year. Today the rankings came out. You were actually one of the players to watch for the Sullivan State Lobos. What does that mean to you?
That means that kind of, I guess you could say, a chip on the shoulder, and you got to live it up. Like, not live it up as in high life, but give yourself a good name towards that way, and just play good, play ball.
And do you feel more comfortable having a full season of college baseball under your belt?
I really do, more or less of knowing that I'm not as nervous pitching as I was last year coming up the first of the year. Now it's easy, like I can be able to stride through it.
Expectations for this team?
For us to win every series, if not necessarily win every series, but play as good as that week as we could, and even if we lose, come up short, just know that we played as well as we could.
And what do you look forward to this season?
Look forward to the season. Obviously having a winning season rather than losing like last year, and just knowing that we, as a pitching staff, because I'm part of the pitching staff wise, have bring that ERA down from last year's previously.
And last question, like I asked Josh, one personal goal, one team goal.
Personal goal is to lead the team with the lowest ERA as a pitcher, of course, and team goal for us to make the conference tournament, of course, and just to lead in the batting average and ERA throughout the whole conference, knowing that we have the best of the best.
All right, Ray, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Now we're here with the head coach of the Sullivan State University Lobos, Coach Bobby Mesker. Coach Mesker, how are you?
Doing good.
First question, preseason rankings came out today. You want to elaborate kind of how you feel about them?
I was interested to see where we'd be picked from last year, and I thought we'd be picked last. So going in and seeing that we were picked second to last, it's kind of funny because I didn't know how the way we played last year, how we weren't picked last. But nevertheless, we are toward the bottom, and I think there's a lot of proof in that situation. I kind of like the underdog factor, not having to be favored, and that's the case. Everybody can play loose all year long. So you play loose all year long, and every success that you have is more than anybody else thought of. We know what we can do, so we're just ready to get going and show everybody else that this is a lot better club. It's a totally different club than what we had last year. So we're excited.
And last year, down season, 9 wins. What do you want to see your club improve on the most?
I think it's obviously we got to get better on the mound. That's always kind of been our thing is on the mound. And anytime you're trying to build a program from the ground and start building it from the ground up, that's where you're going to struggle in baseball. In the game of baseball is on the mound first. So we haven't, and it's only been 4 years, so we haven't fixed that. And recruiting Division III is tough, and then getting guys to come out here. So we got to be better on the mound. That's obvious. So. With that said, I know we had only won 9 games last year, but we lost 12 of those by 1 run, so it's a little deceiving. And I can't believe we were even that competitive, but we were. The truth of the matter is we aren't far off, and we had an 8 ERA. So you find a way to win, half of those other games, you have a 15, 16-win season, which isn't that bad. So although we did win 9 games, we were really competitive, and this team is far beyond last year's team. So it is exciting, but we got to fix the pitching. We got to, and I think it's fixed.
And you've had about 10 days of practice going into this first weekend at the University of Southwest. How prepared is your club?
It's always the thing with us is, especially that first weekend, we always play a non-Division III school, so they've been practicing 2 or 3 weeks before we play them. But I think the way we have practice set up, the way that we have 3 assistant coaches that are really bought in and do their job. And I think the way that it's set up, that we can get our club prepared in the next 10 days, or in the last 10 days leading up to that game. So 10 days of practice isn't ideal, but we feel like we get after in practice, and we're going to have all the bases covered. When we get there, we feel like we will be able to compete. We'll go over everything at least once, and sometimes twice in those 10 days. We won't be as sharp in those areas, but I will be prepared that our guys can do anything that I ask them to do, because we'll have worked on it. So.
And one of the things that jumps out at people when you look at Sul Ross is the schedule this year. You got 6 home games.
Yeah, that's a big concern. It's a really big concern for me as the coach, because you are dealing with 18 to 22-year-old, 23-year-olds going on the road. And so whenever you're going on the road, they've got to take some accountability, because you're only there and you can only keep an eye on them so much. At some point, they got to realize that's an important thing, being on the road that much and being able to go on the road and win. You got to be a really mature club. Luckily, I think these guys can realize how important it is, and they can police themselves. And if they can do that, we don't have any distractions, and go to bed and wake up in the morning ready to play and take care of their business. I think it'll be okay, but it is going to be a challenge for sure.
And last question here on Extra Innings: what are your goals for this club for the season?
This is my 5th year, and I was on a 5-year plan when I got the job. And every year is the conference tournament. How realistic was that last year? Considering what we had on the mound, it probably wasn't realistic. But that's always the goal, especially when we're trying to build it. So that was my goal, to try to get this club in the conference tournament. And I believe that this thing can get it done. So my goal is to get in the conference tournament. And it's not just my goal. I want to do it for the guys that are here, the guys that have been here in the past, and the old alumni, those guys to call back. That's what I want to get it done for. And it's not a personal. It's not something personal that I want to get done. I want to do it for everybody that's associated with Sul Ross. And if this club's able to do it, they'll be able to look back and say, we were the guys who got it done. So hopefully we can get it done. It is a huge task. It's not going to be easy. But if we get it done, they'll have the reward will be great for sure.
All right, that's going to do it for Extra Innings. Thanks for joining us, Coach.
Yes, sir.